Hey there. I hope everyone's doing good. Ooh, this is probably going to be a bit of a shorter video. I wanted to film outside. I just want to get more out in nature and outside in the summer, but it's a really terrible air quality right now. And I was like, oh, it's fine until I got out here. And I'm like, no, I should probably not be out here for too long. So, um, we will see. But um, I want to share a couple of stories that happened in the past couple days. And yeah, we'll kind of see where it goes. But first thing I wanted to come on and share is that I almost said apple. I baked a peach pie the other day, and that is something I have not done ever. I've baked pies before, but very infrequently. But every once in a while, I really feel like having a fruit pie. And I was just really craving a peach pie for some reason. And so, something I'm trying to do more often is, um, especially just in the season of life that I'm in right now, is to create a bit more, to kind of do the ideas that come to my mind a bit more often. So even something as simple as, you know what, I'm really craving this pie, and I'm gonna bake a pie. Um, so that was an adventure. It went pretty well. Sometimes, especially with baking, I feel like cooking. I mean, you can still mess up cooking pretty badly too, but with baking especially, I think it's easier to make mistakes that like completely destroy what you're trying to bake. But thankfully, the recipe I picked was good, and it turned out well, even though novice over here with baking pies. So, but in the process of doing that, it was kind of uh, apparent to me how um, just the concept, I think I've talked about it before as well, but of there being more possibilities and just really looking for how many possibilities there are. So, for example, I what made me think of this is as I was baking the pie, I got so close without it exploding, but I went maybe like 2 minutes too long with having it in the oven, and I had overfilled it a little bit, I think. Plus, I end up using just frozen crusts, and I might not have like closed it well enough around the edges, whatever. I feel like there are multiple things that might have contributed to it exploding a little bit, but I I had put a drip tray underneath, but in like the rack below. So like the pie is on one rack and the drip tray is on one. And I was like, oh, I should have just put a tray underneath the pie itself. But I was kind of like following kind of the recipe exactly. And so there was a bit of a mess on the drip tray, and I had used like a disposable pie pan, the one that the crust came in. And I was like, how do I get the it's very flimsy and it's all soupy when peach pie comes out. It's like really soupy until it sets. And so I'm like, there's no way I can move this. Um, and it was just a moment, a small everyday moment that we do all the time where we have to problem solve. But it just made me think of how often we have to switch gears or figure something out. And so for me, I was like, well, let me just take the entire rack out of the oven, which is not something I would normally do or think of. But it was just like, let's just take the entire rack out because there's no way I can move this pie by itself. I didn't have another tray directly under it. So again, like very small, simple story, but it's so um, interesting how often we have to problem solve. And I think kind of why some of these things stick out to me too is these are some things that I help people with. I help people with problem solving and maybe finding different ways of doing things. And especially, I love trying to help people find ways of doing things that in or doing things in a way that works best for them, right? Because in retrospect, I could have just put a tray directly under the pie. And if I do this again, and if I remember by the time I bake a pie again, I would do it that way. But when you're faced with a dripping, exploding pie, um, you got to figure it out. And um, yeah, and I had thought of a couple of different things I could have done in that moment too. So I was like, problem solving, you're thinking of, okay, multiple solutions, and then which one am I going to try, and which one do I think is going to be the best one? So it was just a fun kind of moment too of having to practice what I help people teach or what I help teach people sometimes as well. So anyway, but with that, it just kind of brought back the concept of there are so many possibilities out there. And I feel like we are just, oh, I just saw a firefly. That's so exciting. Oh, they're so fun to watch. But like, oh, now I got distracted by the firefly. It'll come back to me. But yeah, talking about possibilities, I feel like see, I feel like there's so many ways where we see other people do things a certain way, or we're taught to do things a certain way. Let's take cooking, for example, or baking. Like there might be a certain way that like your parent cooked this meal or would bake this dessert, right? And so you kind of grow up learning how to do it this one specific way. And then maybe when you get older, you might say, like, oh, I could take a shortcut here, that just feels better to me because that's the part of this recipe that would always stress me out, right? Like for me, I used frozen pie crusts because I know some people love like rolling out dough and like working the dough. And for me, that is the thing that like I'm a very rare occasion I might really feel like, okay, like I'm gonna actually roll out dough and like make a crust. But usually if I have to work with like dough, outside of just cookies or something where it's like in a container, if I have to like take out dough and like work with dough, it's just not, that's like a barrier for me. Whereas for someone else, that might be what they're excited about. So really looking at, okay, what are like the barriers for me and what can I do to overcome that? And like just questioning like, okay, maybe I was taught to do something this certain way, or maybe conditioned that there's no other way to do something, and often there is, and we just need to be creative a little bit, or just again, it just starts with opening ourselves up to other possibilities and allowing ourselves to really be true and real with ourselves of what is it that is holding me back, what feels good to me, what doesn't feel good to me, um, and and just adapting and adjusting what we do for that. And every little time that we do that, like I feel like I can't stress this part enough too. Like every time you do that, no matter how small it is, I love focusing on like the small things in life because that's where we find like some of the most joy and like the most fulfillment and gratitude, and as well as it's those little things that really build up if there's something that's really bothering you, if there's a system in your home that's not working, if there is um right, like something that is keeping you from something that would be like something small that's keeping you from something that you'd really enjoy. Another thing, I've mentioned this porch that I'm on right now, which is exciting, and the lights are on. Um, but for me, like I wanted to be able to utilize this porch, but for me, having like we have a screen door that you have to like it's a whole process to open the screen door. It's like janky a little bit, but and then also like to so I have to get through that process of like playing around with the door to get the door open. versus just being able to open a door. And it seems like a really little thing, but that is enough for me some days to like just not go outside versus being able to come outside and just enjoy like enjoy the porch. So that is something that I can't particularly fix right now though. So, I'm like, okay, then let me make the rest of the porch as inviting as possible so it pulls me out and like the door becomes less of a barrier. And so for me that was getting like furniture that I really enjoy and covering the furniture so that I can come out and uncover it and maybe a quick brush off, but it's not like a whole process to like wipe down everything or I'm dealing with like dead bugs and like dust everywhere. For me, like it's crucial. Like it again sounds like so small and maybe like nitpicky or something, but it's crucial for me to be able to open myself up to the possibility of just enjoying my porch more often, right? So I just want to kind of take this time too to see, are there places or things in your life that you could open yourself up to more? Are there things that you could enjoy if you get over, not get over, but like figure out a way over or around barriers keeping you from that? I feel like there's so much more to experience in this life. And and life really is too short to not just be able to go and enjoy the patio, right? As one example. So really thinking of it, and all of this really is a process of just getting to know yourself so deeply as well and so thoroughly of like, okay, and you notice you have a feeling that maybe this thing stresses me out, and really dissecting, okay, what is it that stresses you out about it? Like, is it, for me with this patio analogy, it's the door, it's just getting outside, and then it's like it's the seating situation, and then yeah, me just not feeling it's like, clean enough for me to just like throw myself on like a chair and chill. So it's identifying the barriers, identifying what are these things that are causing tension. And often, like if we feel that tension, it's for a reason, and it's keeping us from expanding our life, from enjoying more, from having a new experience, right? So all of these little things really add up. I always think little things add up. So that was my pie story and porch story. And oh yeah, the last story I wanted to share was I just went through a beautiful walk in the woods the other day, and just talking about experiencing life and just soaking in all the little things. Um, there was a tree there where I go. It has a tree that's like, I want to say it's like 100 years old. I don't remember exactly how old it is, but it's an old tree. And something that struck me about it is I know that it's there. So I kind of know the area where it is. And so I go to look at it sometimes, but when you're coming up on it, it's so unassuming. Like it's like, to me, like it just kind of blends in with the surroundings. It is in a little bit of a clearing, but there's other trees around it and stuff. And um the trunk of it is dark, like a dark brown. And that makes sense. Obviously a lot of trees are brown, but it'll make more sense of like why I'm saying that specifically. But the trunk is a dark brown and it kind of, blends into the surroundings a bit more. And so it's just so interesting, like as you walk up to it, it's kind of then like reveals itself to you. Like you don't really see it, and then all of a sudden you might look over and be like, oh my gosh, that tree is giant, because it blends in. But then if you look up, it's one of those trees where like the bark falls off. So in the upper branches, it's white, or white with brown splotches, basically. So like the brown base of it really, again, is an unassuming. And then you look over and you're like, and you look up and you're like, where did this tree come from? It's beautiful. It's one of those trees where it has branches just kind of evenly stretching out everywhere. And like the lowest branches are going like parallel to the ground. So it's like literally like looks like its arms are outstretched all the way around. And yeah, again, like with that peeling bark, uh, it it's a sycamore tree. That's the word. I was forgetting the name of it, but it's a sycamore tree, and so beautiful. And yeah, with where the places where the bark is coming off, it just um, looks so majestic. I don't know, and just such an interesting tree. So I don't know. I feel like I just needed to share that because that might be symbolic for someone. I feel like I can find symbolism in everything. So for me, it's like, kind of the symbolism of, again, an ancient, ancient wisdom, right? Something that's, it, it might be unassuming at first, like, something that might seem obvious, but then you take a look at it again, or you take a second glance and you're like, whoa, it has all of this depth that you might not have seen at first. So that just kind of that story kind of told itself to me as I was looking at that tree of just of it being this old beautiful tree reaching for the sky. It was so cool. So anyway, I should wrap this up a bit shorter here. It's definitely not great air out here, but I would like to do this more often. I'm definitely going to do this more often with recording outside while I can. But I hope you have an amazing day and are able to have moments of seeing little nuggets of ancient wisdom throughout your day, or seeing those moments where you get to just enjoy fireflies. You can see them in the background a little bit. Um, all these little moments, they really add up. Or noticing where you have tension, because that's an opportunity to overcome a barrier, identify the barrier, think of a solution to overcome it, and then expand your world because of it. So have a good day. Until next time.